There's now multiple studies in melanoma where they take people and they give them a fecal transplant from someone who was a responder and give it to the person who's about to go get treated. And that's what they did. And with incredible results, like literally twice as many people were beating cancer relative to the expectation. The fascinating thing about
that voice belongs to Dr. Will Bulsiewicz, a world-renowned gastroenterologist and New York Times best-selling author. He's here to dismantle the myths about your digestion and reveal the hidden wiring between your gut, your brain, and even your cancer risk. We often think of the gut as just a food processor, but the science says it's your body's command center. This is Synthesize, where we turn long podcast conversations into their most important ideas. We need to start by reframing what your gut actually is. It is not just a tube for food. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that constitutes a massive portion of who you physically are. Most people ignore their gut health because they can't see it, but Dr. Will argues that if you understood the sheer scale of the life inside you, you would never treat it the same way again.
poop is predominantly your microbiome. 60% of the weight of your stool is microbial.
Really?
Yes.
When you say microbial, you mean like the bacteria?
The bacteria.
60% of it's
Let me give you an example. If I took your drink and I added some soluble fiber, which is prebiotic, into your drink.
Yeah.
There's no grit, there's no roughage, you don't even know it's there, and you're gonna have a bigger, healthier bowel.
This is the foundational aha moment. You are not just human, you are a vessel for trillions of organisms. When you eat, you aren't just fueling your muscles, you are feeding a colony that makes up the majority of your waste. If 60% of what comes out of you is bacteria, then the quality of that bacteria determines the quality of your health. But what happens when that colony gets agitated? We hear the word inflammation constantly in health circles, but rarely is it explained simply. It isn't just swelling or redness. It's a tactical military response that, when left unchecked, begins to destroy the very infrastructure it was designed to protect.
Problems is that, let's sort of use an analogy of the immune system is your small army, and they're there to defend you. And when we activate the army and they're actually going to war, you have to expect that there's going to be damage to the surrounding areas, right? Like if there's a war occurring, of course there's decimation and damage that occurs, and it's brutal. And the problem is that if we're activating the immune system, the areas that are surrounding it, that's your body, right? And the decimation and destruction that's occurring is...
Chronic inflammation is essentially friendly fire. Your immune system, tricked by a damaged gut barrier, stays in a permanent state of war. It bombards your tissues with cytokines, leading to fatigue, brain fog, and eventually disease. The war zone is your own body. This war doesn't stay in the stomach. The most frightening revelation in modern gastroenterology is that diseases we once thought were purely neurological may actually originate in the colon. The gut-brain axis is a literal physical connection, and signs of brain degeneration often show up in the bathroom years before they show up in behavior.
And what's interesting is that they've now shown that the constipation comes before the Parkinson's disease. So now this doesn't mean, for people who are constipated, there's a lot of you out there, this doesn't mean that if you're constipated, you're going to develop Parkinson's disease. There's a very small percentage of people. But it's important to understand that the manifestations of this health condition actually start in the digestive system before they actually transfer up to the brain.
This changes the timeline of diagnosis. If constipation is a canary in the coal mine for neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's, then gut health becomes a matter of long-term brain preservation. You aren't just trying to avoid bloating, you are trying to protect your mind. If we want to protect that barrier, we have to talk about the substances that dissolve it. Alcohol is socially accepted, but biologically, it acts as a solvent for your gut lining. Dr. Will shares a study that completely changed his personal relationship with drinking, proving that the damage happens almost instantly.
alcohol was causing leaky gut.
Oh, leaky gut, okay.
Yeah, so alcohol was causing leaky gut. That's what we saw in that study. And the fact that the amount of leaky gut was proportional to the amount of alcohol in the blood, and that the leaky gut did not return to normal until the alcohol level was 0, says to me that any amount of alcohol that's detectable in the bloodstream can create this problem.
Which is going to cause him.
This is a binary mechanic. Alcohol present equals gut barrier compromised. There is no safe window where the gut remains intact while alcohol is in your blood. For the entire duration of your buzz, your gut is leaking bacterial toxins into your bloodstream, triggering the very inflammation army we discussed earlier. So, if we are damaging our guts with modern lifestyle choices, how do we repair them? The answer isn't a fancy supplement or a detox tea. It is the single most ignored nutrient in the Western diet. We are starving our microbial army to death, and the statistics are staggering.
Fiber foods.
Yes, and acknowledging that 95% of people in the United States and 90% of people in the UK are deficient in fiber as we sit here right now.
And what complications or implications does that have for one's gut microbiome?
Massive.
Because fiber's feeding the good bacteria.
Fiber is the principal food for the good bacteria, and it is the precursor to short-chain fatty acids. So the short-chain fatty acids are what we create when...
We are in a fiber famine. When you don't eat fiber, you aren't just constipated. You are starving your microbiome. Without fiber, your bacteria cannot produce short-chain fatty acids, the crucial compounds that lower inflammation and repair your DNA. Why are these short-chain fatty acids so critical? Dr. Will highlights one specifically, butyrate. Think of butyrate as the construction crew of your colon. Without it, the physical walls of your intestines begin to fall apart. This is the mechanism of repair.
My favorite is butyrate, because it's the butyrate that has the biggest effect on the microbes, on the gut barrier. Like, you literally need butyrate in order to produce the proteins that hold your gut lining together. And the butyrate has a direct effect on our immune cells. So these are, again...
You cannot simply will your gut to heal. You need the raw materials. You eat fiber, your microbes eat the fiber, they produce butyrate. Butyrate stitches your gut lining back together. It is a biological assembly line. If you cut the fiber, the assembly line stops and the wall crumbles. But food isn't the only thing that shapes this environment. The phrase gut feeling is scientifically accurate. Your nervous system and your gut are inextricably linked, meaning that psychological history, specifically trauma, can physically alter the function of your digestion decades after the event.
And what I've realized is actually this idea of like the body keeps the score is so well said. It's so true. The body does keep the score. You can have trauma that occurs before the age of 2. There's no way you remember that. And yet it will manifest later on in adults. And this has been shown actually.
This explains why some people can eat the perfect diet and still suffer from severe gut issues. If your amygdala is stuck in fight or flight due to unresolved trauma, your body constantly floods the gut with stress hormones, sabotaging repair. Healing the gut often requires healing the mind first. Finally, if you want to turbocharge this repair process, there is one dietary addition that outperforms almost everything else. A landmark Stanford study showed that adding this one category of food can rapidly increase the diversity of your ecosystem and lower inflammation markers in just weeks.
And what they showed is that in just 8 weeks, by adding fermented food to their diet, people could increase the diversity of their gut microbiome. That means a healthier gut. And they lowered inflammation. So as the gut gets healthier, inflammation goes down, and they did that just by adding fermented food.
Fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, are like reinforcements for your internal army. They introduce live beneficial bacteria directly into the system. If fiber is the food, fermented foods are the new recruits. Dr. Will Bulsiewicz's message is ultimately one of empowerment. Your gut is not a static pipe. It's a dynamic garden that responds to what you do today. Here are the 3 core takeaways. 1. Feed the army. 95% of us are fiber deficient. Eat plants to create butyrate, the glue that holds your gut barrier together. 2. Mind the solvent. Alcohol causes immediate leakiness in the gut barrier. It doesn't heal until the alcohol is gone. 3. Heal the axis. Gut health isn't just about food. Stress and trauma keep your system in a state of war. You have to treat the mind to fix the belly. The question you should ask yourself this week is, are you feeding the army inside you, or are you sending it to war against your own body? If this kind of breakdown helps you think differently, you'll probably enjoy the next video too.